JK Esport Racing League round 9 around Austria. It is your commentator as always, Alex, here to commentate on today's race, and it should be a very good one. Sam Barrett getting the win last time out around Paul Ricard's circuit. He will be looking to do the same, so he's able to catch up. So he's able to catch up. So he's able who leads the championship. Sorry, my mic keeps cutting out. So this is as we wait to get on the way here, still in the lobby. Austria, a very quick circuit, lots and lots of DRS zones to use to your advantage. Obviously most of the track is full throttle, only about 11 turns at the most, so straight line speed really is the aim of the game, as it looks like the drivers are already in up, so we are looking like we're getting on the way here. So as we wait for all the drivers to ready up and start the race, wait and see who can pull off the race win. Obviously Scavney, your championship leader, looking to get another win under his belt, but Sam, obviously upsetting the party last time out, is hoping to do the same again. So let's get this race. Let's get this race on the way here, as we'll wait here for the qualifying to start. Obviously last time out the first turn was very precarious for some of the drivers, especially Brian Mosso, who we were fortunately enough able to get an interview from last time out, to get his reaction. So he'll be hoping to maybe start on pole so he can avoid that first turn crash. So as we wait for the first car to make a bat an eyelid and come out of the pits, some drivers were doing some practice earlier on today to see what kind of lap times they could do, how long tyres could last, and it's going to be interesting to see who can come out on top. So Brian Mosso will be the first driver to set a time today. So we will wait for the first driver to cross over the line and start their flying lap. So most drivers have come out on the soft. Conley Jackson on the mediums, so is Bray Loaderman in the other Toro Rosso. So we wait as Brian Mosser will cross the line here to start his lap here. What kind of lap will he be able to put in? So he goes round the first turn, relatively clean, opens the DRS straight away. Brakes there for the sharp right-hander. Now down the next DRS straight. Brakes hard into the next right-hander, so a lot of right-handers, very tight turns around this circuit as you come round. One of the most satisfying corners on the calendar. The two left-handers very flowing, and then through the left-hander here into the right-hander, very easy to get wrong, but Brian does very well to keep it on the track. And now as Brian comes around to finish his lap, it is a 1:05.59, so he does go fastest at the moment. Scavney though puts in a faster lap time by just over 0.2 of a second, so very quick lap times from Scavney and Brian, as Cromley Jackson comes round into third on the mediums with a 1:07, as Chris Money sets his line as a 1:26, so obviously made a mistake somewhere around the lap. Hildebeest goes fastest with a 1:05.1, Charging Lamp goes full fastest with a 1:06.045, Captain Schmeg 69 with a 1:06.5. Other people to set a line, Hirsch has just set a time of a 1:08, K-Dog just behind with a 1:08.4 when Hirsch had the 1:08.2. Braylo on the mediums, just a second behind Cromley there, the other medium runner. So I don't know if drivers are coming for a second lap or if they're going to head into the pits, as Scavney does pop into the pits. But Markov Kenya with a third place time there with a 1:05.5, a very quick lap time from him. As Charging Lamp comes into the pit, so a lot of drivers just doing the one run and coming in. We'll see if Cromley is doing the same. He looks like he's going flat out though. So Brian has set another so as we wait for the next driver to bat an eyelid and come out again. So wait to see who's the next driver to set a line. Sam here on the hard tyres with 1:05.9, so he did a very good lap on the hard tyres to get himself into fifth. I saw him doing some practice races before this race, doing some track acclimatisation, getting to know the tyre life of each tyre. Scavney is out for his second lap. So as we wait for the next driver to start in that lap, looking at Scavney and Brian, and we'll join you when they come back. As we now look at Brian Mozart, he looks to set his second lap of the session. We're actually going to go on board with Scabney. As we went on board with Brian first time, Scabney goes very wide, but is able to keep it. Yellow flags in sector 1 and 2. It looks like there's a Renault going slow. I know it's the Haas, but I think that's Chris Money, who's on his outlap. So Scabney here looking to close the gap on Hildebeest ahead of him. Scabney flies through the two left-handers. Again, keeps it tight on the apex. Leaves it round. Now, Vishesh. There's going to be a conversation about that one with the Shewitts there between Vishesh and Scabney, but Brian does set the fastest lap time of the session while we weren't on board with him. He goes fastest by 0.05 of a second. Hildebeest will look to come and match that. Mark of Kenya back out for his second stint of the session. So at the moment, the second, with the last 10 minutes of qualifying session, Brian is on pole, Hildebeest second, Scabney third, Mark of Kenya fourth as he comes around to start his lap, Sam Barrett in fifth, Charging Lamp sixth, Johnny seventh, Cromley eighth, Captain ninth, HC Tom 10th, Vishesh 11th, Chris Money 12th, Spaceman 13th, Hirsch 14th, Braylow 15th, K-Dog 16th and Floating Gypsy 17th, with Fabio yet to set time. So we'll go on board with Markov. He is going quicker than his last lap time, so he'll just need to keep improving. So Mark here coming around the fast left-handers again, as we've seen. As he goes to the left, he set a fastest purple sector. So if he can keep this pace up, he may be able to set a pole lap as he flies around the final corner, keeps the traction down. What will his time be? It is a 1 of 5.3, so he does improve on his lap time, but loses time in the final sector, so doesn't get the pole lap he would have wanted. But as Hildebeest comes out on his outlap, Scabney has left the session, so internet problem for him there. He'll want to join before the end of the session, so he's able to set another lap time, because he will not be too best pleased with fourth. As Chris here on his lap, obviously going quite slow. Let's see what Cromley is able to do here. What will his second sector will be like? His second sector will be 2 seconds slower, so obviously hasn't found the pace. Charging Lamp here doesn't set a fast lap, so many drivers not on fast laps here, as Hildebeest has started his lap now. So we'll go on board with Hildebeest. All he needs to find is 0.05 of a second and he will regain the pole position. As he flies down into the tight right hander, almost a hairpin, but a bit too wide to be a hairpin. Now through the left hander, hogs the curbs on entry, hogs the curbs on exit. As he now flies down one of the most exciting parts of this track, the two very fast right-handers to end the lap through the final turn, hogs the curbs. What will his time be? It will be a 1:05.265, so not an improvement, doesn't give him pole as he spins out there and he saves it from going into the wall. And you know, you may think, oh, he's second, it's fine at the moment, but you know, you want to get pole and you don't want to crash out and ruin your chances. As Sam here on the mediums going a little bit slower, what will he be able to do? Oh, he's 10 thousandths of a second down on his time, so he's got the pace on the medium tyres to keep up with some soft tyre runners, as Johnny here starts a lap on the mediums. Fishy looks to finish his lap, comes around the final corner into 5th, 6th, 7th gear, opens the DRS. His time will not be an improvement, so he will stay in 13th place. So that is very unfortunate for him. Hildebeest will look to fly into the pits now, set a new fresh set of softs on his car to go for the fastest lap one last time. Sam Barrett 2 tenths up on his time. So will he stay out or will he pull into the pits? I think he will stay out to finish this lap time. If he keeps this time up, he will move up into 5th. What will he be able to get? He does improve and it is into 5th. So he's done very well there to move up positions out on the medium tyres, on the harder compound. So he's looking to go long in this race to try and make the faster compound in the second stint do wonders for him here, as he's in 5th. He had the help of his Renault teammate Hirsch ahead of him to give him a bit of tow, so that is what they would have wanted. As I think Spaceman here has started his lap, so I'll go on board with Spaceman. And I think I can't tell if he's on a lap or not. We'll have a look now. And he pulls to the inside. I'm still not too sure. I think he may be. As he hugs the apex for entry. Gets tight on the right turn. Through the 2 left-handers again. Apex hits the apex perfectly. Tight on that left-hander, very nice through there. What will he do here? He takes a very inside line there, try and make the track as small as possible, and he will not improve. So unfortunate there for Spaceman, as Brian here on his outlap will want to take as long as possible, but he is going on the marbles, so maybe not the best strat from him there, as he's not going to get the tyres up to temp. He's also getting a lot of wear on him with the marbles. So charging up here on a lap, but he's obviously waiting for next time. Chris Money on his outlap. Scavney in the pits, don't think he will be able to come out again. Michael Kenya's doing the bits, Hildebeest doing the bits, so Brian Mosser here, the pole sitter at the moment, will look to set a faster time. Oh, he gets it all types of wrong through the final corner, maybe maximising his exit speed. So let's see what he can do. He's going to fly through the first turn an hour, a bit wide on entry, doesn't get the apex, so not the greatest line through there. So he now flies up the hill into the right-hander, gets the car turned in well, gets the traction down, and now down the straight. The Haas lets him pass. What will he be able to do? Open DRS up into 8th gear, 200 miles per hour now, brakes heavy into that tight right-hander, into 3rd gear, up to 4th quick, up to 5th, quick up shifts to go up the gears and keep the traction. Now through the left-handers, you want to throttle, keep it, you know, neat on the throttle there. You don't want to overbear too much, and again keep it 6th gear to get the car turned in. Now 7th up into 8th, just before you have to brake again. down into 7th. You want to carry as much speed through there as possible, and he's gone straight on at the turn. Will this lap time count? I'm not too sure, but he does go slower anyway, so it wasn't a quicker lap even if he did improve. So Hildebeest next to challenge the pole man. What will he be able to do? And he will start his lap time right at the end of the session. So we are off here. He will be the first man to cross the line right at the end of the session. So he goes quite slow through there and goes quite wide, so he doesn't keep it all the way on the track. Hildebeest will hug the left hand side of the track, giving himself the widest entry. He is a few hundredths up on his time. He only needs to gain 5 hundredths again. That is the goal as he now flies down this second DRS straight. A lot of DRS straights around this circuit, all in the first real sector. Down into that right hander, gets the car tight, gets the nose in. Now down through the left here, the first left, rides the apex on exit, keeps it tight through that left hander, rides the curb again. Now keeps it tight, hugs the left hand side of the track to get the car turned in, get the tightest of angles, keeps the car within the in between the white lines. And again, this is a very quick time from Hildebeest. What would it be on the clock? It is a faster lap time, a 1:05.02, a very quick lap time there for the Alfa Romeo. Scavney comes across the line to improve, but not improve enough. So now Mark of Kenya sets the fastest second sector there. What will he have in the tank to finish this lap as he comes around, hugs the apex, and again his last sprint to the line? It will be a 1:05.1. It is good enough for second, not good enough for pole. And now Sam Barrett, as he comes around, he's 5/10 up on his time. It won't be good enough for pole, but it will be good enough for second at the moment, as he will now swing round the final 2 turns. What will his time be? Keeps it wide into the entry into that corner, down the start finish straight. What will his time be? It's a 1:04.8, and Sam Barrett takes pole right at the death here. We'll go on board with Chris Money. What will he be able to do? He will come across the final corner now. What will his final time be? I think he's going slower, so he knew he wasn't going to go quicker, and he will finish up in 6th. A good qualifying session for him. K-Dog here also going slow. I think she has had a wreck, which is very disappointing because she was on a very fast lap. She was on a quicker lap. She was improving. So very unfortunate for her, but points aren't run on Saturday. She spins it there, puts it into the wall. I'm sorry for capturing this, K-Dog. I'll turn away as quickly as possible so you can get into the pits. But Sam Barrett, the man we are on board with right now, will be your pole sitter again here. One last time out in France at the Paul Ricard circuit. Will he win this time out in Austria? We will have to wait and see. This is going to be a very, very interesting race now for Sam Barrett. So as we get to the end of short qualifying, is Sam Barrett on pole with 1:04.8, then Hildebeest in second, Mark of Kenya third, Brian Mosser 4th, Scavney 5th, Chris Money 6th, Cromley Jackson 7th, Captain 8th, Charging Lamp 9th, HT Tom 10th, Johnny 11th, Bray Loaderman in 12th, Vicious 13th, Hirsch 14th, Spaceman 15th, K-Dog 16th, Floating Gypsy 17th, and Fabio Sapio, the only man to not set a time. Oh, it's overcast here at the start of the Austrian Grand Prix. Will there be any rain? Obviously, we are unfortunately not able to know in the commentary box if there will be any rain, but the drivers will be looking at their race strategies and they will have to make the call if or when, if they have to come in for wet tyres or even intermediates at the least if it does start to rain. So as we wait for the drivers here to ready up, they've been told by the league officiators to wait 2 minutes before readying up for the formation lap. As we do get on the way for the formation lap here, so 36 laps around the Red Bull ring, the Red Bull of Cromley. Jackson here will look to do his home race proud, or his manufacturer's race proud here. Starting from 7th, Sam Barrett will look to capitalise on his momentum from last time out and come first once again, as Hildebeest is in Mark of Kenya will start on 3rd in the grid in the racing point, and it does look like it's going to be raining. A lot of the drivers are out on dries though, so we will have to wait and see of how that's if the rain is going to get heavier or if it's going to stay light like this. Vicious in the other Red Bull starting from outside the top 10, so he will be wanting to try and crack into the top 10 as the two Red Bulls starting next to each other on the grid, 10th and 9th. Captain in the second Alfa Romeo, a few places behind his teammate in Hildebeest, but he will be looking to make some places up. K-Dog getting her first points of the season last time out, so she will be trying to see if she can capitalise on a first corner crash like last time, as we will go on board with your pole sitter Sam Barrett, second in the championship, following behind Scavney, who leads it, who is starting in 5th. This is going to be a very exciting game to watch, and I'm glad you can watch it here with us either live or if you're watching us on the replay as we get ready here for the start of the Austrian Grand Prix. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, look but don't stare, and we are off for the Austrian Grand Prix. And it's a fantastic start from Sam, who looks to keep his lead, and fantastic start from Brian Mosser in the Toro Rosso as well. There's been a bit of contact, a lot of contact down the back of the field, and that's a Ferrari in the wall and an Alfa Romeo without its wing. That is Captain without his wing there. Floating Gypsy in the Williams stays relatively clean. HC Tom put in the wall, he's lost his end plate, and it is Sam who leads. Oh, a lot of collision, a lot of front wing. All the Toro Rosso's round. The Toro Rosso, I think that's Brelo, is round. A lot of drivers going very slow here, and there is a safety car out, so the race order looks like this: Sam, Hildy, Mark and Scavney and Chris all stay in their 5th position. Chris and Brian, I think, has swapped positions. Cromley stays in 7th, Charging Lamp in 8th, Johnny 9th, Braylo the man 10th, but he will have to pit for a new front wing. Vicious in 11th, Hirsch 12th, Spaceman 13th, K-Dog 14th, Fabio 15th, Captain 16th, Floating Gypsy 17th, and HD Tom 18th. So as we come round for the first laps on the safety car, I'll have to wait and see what happens. so I thought I'd leave the safety car commentary unmarked here, so you can catch your breath after that very adventurous start of the race. Loads of cars losing positions, losing front wings, one of them being captain, who has dropped back to last. Also Braylo, who lost his front wing. So a lot of drivers unfortunately dropping down the pack, but fortunately enough with the safety car able to catch back up, so that is fantastic for them. As we will wait for the restart, and I will rejoin you when that does happen. So it looks like the safety car is coming back in this lap, so we are about ready to get back on the way. And instead of it being the sound of music in Austria today, it is the sound of V6 engines, as Sam here looks to get the pack back on the way, and it's a fantastic start from Sam as he pulls away from Hildy, and Mark of Kenya looks to get the pass off on Hildy. You can't obviously get an overtake done before the start finish late, and I think he waited perfectly for that. He got the move done super well, and now Hildy Beast looks to try and hold it, but Scavney now joins the battle. He's going side by side with Hildy up the hill. There's been a crash lower down the order, a lot of pits. I think that was a harsh. Yeah, Chris Money has been spun round. I'm sorry that I've missed that, guys, but I was too busy looking at the battle for a second here as Hildy Beast gets the move on Mark of Kenya as he went too deep into the corner. So enthralling stuff here between the top second, third and fourth. Brian looking to try and catch onto it as there's been a massive slip there from Hildy, as Mark of Kenya able to get the move done. I think there's grip. It's raining quite heavily now. Maybe it is time for intermediates. I think some of the guys who were pit early have gone onto the intermediate tyres. Hirsch has gone into the wet, so he obviously thinks he's going to get really bad. Cromley here struggling on the intermediate tyres. Spaceman going another lap on the softs, but all the guys behind on the intermediates. So Sam will now dive into the pits on the intermediates. Mark also dives into the pits. Hildy dives in. Scabney dives in. Johnny dives in. All the cars are diving in. There's a yellow flag in sector 2, and I think that's Spaceman on the softs, who unfortunately got caught out during the wet dry period, so he has to go on to another lap, and he is just left like a boat out there. He's going to drop loads of time. Charging Lamp though ahead of him, nearly getting it wrong, but able to keep the car pointing straight, as that is Floating Gypsy, who is around, who I think lost it, and a lot of drivers still coming into the pits, as K-Dog will go onto the intermediate tyres. Hirsch will come round on the wet tyres, so he obviously thinks it's going to get a lot heavier, as I'm at the top stage saying Cromley though gains massively, so great strategy call there from Cromley to go onto the intermediate tyres at the right time. So he is definitely called the right strategy for Red Bull here in their manufacturer's race. Hildy just behind him, Scabney just behind him, but Hirsch and Braylow in a nice neat little battle here, maybe, as I think that's Fabio who goes deep, so K-Dog may be able to capitalise on that and get close to Fabio, as there's been a massive overtake. I think Cromley's made a mistake, and as I was just saying, he made a great strategy call to come onto the intermediates and gain track position. He has just lost all that track position, and I think he's also lost part of his front wing there. He's lost it out of the hairpin of the right hander, and he is definitely struggling for grip here, as now Scabney is right on the tail of Hildy. Scabney is obviously dealing better with the conditions, which is brilliant for Scabney, as he will want to try and get this position on Hildy as quick as possible, as Brian looks like he's right on the back, and I think Cromley's lost it again, and Cromley has lost it again. Cromley is struggling on these tyres, and he goes into the pit, so I'm sure he has front wing damage. Hirsch is on the wet tyres, and he is being chased profusely by K-Dog here, who does move up into 10th. Brian Mosser also comes into the pits. He's setting a fresh set of intermediate tyres, as he has a 5-second time penalty to serve, so he does serve that. So it is Sam who leads, just like last time, creating a gap to the cars behind him. Scavney close on Hildebeest's tail in 4th, as Mark of Kenya is in no man's land in 2nd, with no cars near him, as Chris Money gets a move done on Charging Lamp. They're going side by side here down what would be a DRS straight with no DRS to use, so they're just using raw engine, and Charging Lamp did get the better exit, but Chris Money will look to go down the outside, as Charging Lamp gets it all types of wrong. He goes very, very wide there. Charging Lamp puts it into the gravel. K-Dog gets a move on Hershey, who's on the wet tyres, so maybe he's struggling for pace at the moment. Sam Barrett does get the move done. I think Vicious also gets past Charging Lamp. Captain is just behind the Ferrari here, but the Ferrari is gaining massive on Vish, so Vish may be struggling as well for pace. He's looking quite slow. So Charging Lamp is gaining. So Hildebeest looking to build a gap on Scabney, which he is doing. Sam leading the race comfortably at the moment. Mark of Kenya not anywhere near him, as we've got some Brian fans in the chat. Thank you for supporting. Hopefully Brian is able to pick up the pieces, as Hirsch does come into the pit, so he obviously made the wrong choice to go onto the wet tyres, goes back onto the intermediates. Thought maybe he could gain an advantage. Floating Gypsy is also on the wet, so he's going to struggle, as Brian Mosser here, as Vicious and Captain go side by side here, and Captain, will he look to dive down the inside? No, he thinks better of it and sticks behind Vish here, but he does have the pace to gain on him most likely. So Vish looks like he's gaining on Charging Lamp, who we've seen has made a mistake under pressure. Chris Money right on the back of Fabio here. What will he be able to do? So he looks going on, and there's a yellow flag in sector 3, and it's the Red Bull Cromley who's gone onto the wet tyres. And oh, who's that ahead of him? That's Hirsch ahead of him. So Hirsch makes a mistake, and now they're going to be right next to each other. Sam Barrett comes through cleanly and easily there on the intermediate, so he is obviously finding a lot of good fortune. As I think Cromley's coming into the pits again. Cromley decides to dive into the pits once again here, so he's obviously struggling on whatever tyre he has to at the moment. So we'll see what tyre he decides to come back out on, as Scavney gets the fast right hand at all types of wrong there. As there's not many battles going on at the moment, but we will wait and see if anything changes. I'm sure we will see something, as Spaceman goes wide, but I think he is a lap car anyway, so Hildebeest gets the pass on him. So the race is going well. And there's Hildebeest maybe goes a bit wide. Scavney takes a much tighter line. There's Charging Lamp maybe getting onto the back of Fabio here. Charging Lamp, will he look for a move? Will he dive it down the inside? No, he thinks better of it in the wet. As Fabio goes deep anyway, he's struggling to get the traction down. And he does get the move here on Fabio. As Vish now right on the back of him, as I think Vish is going to be able to get the move on him. Yes, he will. So good overtake from Vish there. He's driving very well today in the Red Bull, as he will have to try and make up the points for Cromley. As Sam is just building he's building a massive gap to Mark behind him. So lap 11 of 36 here, so nearly a third of the way through the race. So in a very interesting one to start off with. The changing weather conditions has really struggled a few drivers, as there's a yellow flag in sector 2. I don't know who that could be. Oh, it's a slow car who's in the gravel. It is Hirsch, who is also struggling in the tyres. Him and Cromley have been all over the shop for strategy. So as I just said, we're a third of the way through the race here. 12 laps of 36. So Hildebeest dives into the pits here. So he's gone onto the wet tyre, so he thinks the conditions are bad enough that he has to go on the wets. And if that is true, Cromley and Hirsch are going to be kicking each other. So Chris Money here in the pits, trying to change his front wing. He comes out onto the wets as well, so it looks like the conditions are getting worse. And Hirsch goes off again. So Hirsch is really struggling with the conditions, so he may just look to retire here if he can't keep it on the track, because it is going to be a bad afternoon for him. As Sam also comes into the pits for wet tyres. Scavney stays out here on the intermediate, so he thinks he can make it work, but he's not going to come out ahead of Sam. Mark O'Kenya here. Comes out on the wet compound. So a lot of drivers going onto the wet compound, so that is obviously the tyre of choice now. So if we look at the stops, I mean, a lot of drivers already made 2 stops where you'd think this race is a 1 stop, but the tyres are obviously making the conditions tough. So Scavney and Jommy both sticking it out on the intermediate tyres. Well, quite a few of the field have gone onto the wets. It's still mixed at the moment. Some drivers on the intermediates, but we'll see the first real difference of pace if Michael Kenya is able to chase down Johnny. As I think Scavney will carry on for another lap, but he's lost four whole seconds. And Marco Kenya is only 2 seconds back on Johnny now, so he is gaining rapidly. But I think Johnny did go into the pit, so Johnny thinks it's time for the wet tyres. So Scavney stays out for another lap on the intermediates, but he looks like he is struggling now. He may look to come into the pits to go onto the wets. As all Mark of Kenya goes a bit deep there, but able to keep it on the track. And there's a yellow flag in sector 3. That looks like there's a Ferrari off, and it is the Ferrari of Charging Lamp. He has lost it into the wall, drew it through the fast right-hander. He will look to dive into the pits. No, he will look to carry on even with a broken wing, so he will have to go another lap with a broken wing. So this is looking like an issue, and yes, Charging Lamp has gone straight on at the first corner, and he will have to retire from the race. So very unfortunate for him there, as Scavney goes out for another lap on the intermediate. So he thinks he can make the intermediates work, but he goes very deep into that corner, has to slow down completely to be able to get the car stopped and not go off into the barrier, as he's dropping seconds back massively on Sam, who's even struggling in the wets. This is torrential conditions here at the Red Bull Ring. I feel bad for the fans watching without any cover. They're going to be struggling. As Fabio gets a move on Chris, and Captain goes down the inside of Chris. That is so out of nowhere for Chris, as Captain is able to get the move done through the first corner. Massive move there for Captain as he moves up into 9th. As now we'll look for any more battles, but a lot of drivers spread out here. Only Chris, as he goes down the inside of Captain, a massive move there. He hits Captain able to get it back on the track, but Captain is struggling to keep Chris behind. But I think Chris goes deep there. No, he does keep it tight. So he's trying to keep within the toe, but it looks like he is dropping back massively. Well, not massively, but he's dropping back on the driver ahead as Johnny gets the move on Brelo, as Brelo dives into the pits to fit a set of wet boots on his car. As Scavney, oh, massive drift through that corner. That was quite a good time to go onto him there, as that is a fantastic clip that he would love to watch again through there, as he kept the car very in control. Hildebeest also maybe a bit of a tank slapper through there. But Brian here, right on the back of Vicious. What will he be able to do? As Vicious closing down on Braylo, so both men on the intermediates catching to Braylo on the wet tyres. So maybe the intermediates are still the best tyre. Brian here right on the back of Vish. 2 jobs on the intermediates. So he looks to keep the pressure on Vish. He's trying to force a mistake from Vish as he goes a little bit deep, but not close enough. So now drop back as he had to compromise his run through that corner to keep close to Vish, as he nearly lost it there through the right hander, but did keep it under control. Oh, Brian looking to get the pass here on Vish. He's still eyeing it up. They're still both out on the intermediates. They are the only two, other than Scavney, who are still on the intermediates. Scavney dropping massively back from dropping back from Sam. He looks like he's going to get another demanding victory here, which again would be good for him, as he needs to try and keep the gap between him and Scavney relatively low. Someone was saying on board with Brian here as he looks at eye out the pass. There's no other battles going on the track, so as all Brian right on the back of Vishev. Vish must have gone very slow through the 2 right-handers. Brian able to capitalise. What will he do here? No, he's going to keep behind him, maybe go down the inside. Oh no, he's right behind him, and they've spun. Vicious spun round. Brian Mosser contact between him and Vish there, and that is very unfortunate. Captain gets the move on Vish, so he gains a free position. So I don't think Vish is going to be too happy about that overtake there from Brian, as Mark of Kenya is gaining on Scavney here, still on the intermediate tyres. Mark of Kenya here really getting close to the back of Scavney, and as Mark is trying anything to get the move here. He just wants to get past him. He wants to break down the defence of Scavney. He just wants anything. Does he get the move off? No. He did think down the inside. No. He taps the back of Scavney. They're going side by side through the fast right-hander. It is excellent racing between the two. They're going side by side down the start-finish straight. Mark of Kenya has... as Mark of Kenya gets the move. Mark of Kenya gets the move. Mark of Kenya gets the move. as Hildy gets... Oh, this is... As Johnny gets that turn all wrong, goes a bit too deep into it, does keep the place though on the Hilda Beast. They're side by side here. This is excellent stuff to watch. This is, he goes down the inside. What a move from Hilda Beast. Johnny, does he have anything to fight back with? What, Hildy keeps the position here on Johnny. What a move. Captain Schmeg69 gets the move on Chris Money here. Johnny still within the second of of field to piece. As Johnny is dropping massively back from Hilda Beast, but Scavney has gone into the pitch to set another and put another set of intermediates on, so he thinks the conditions are getting better. Hilda Beast is gaining on him here. He's within 5 tenths now, dropping back down. As Captain Schmeg69 goes into the pits here, what is he saying? He's going to go on another set of intermediates, so a lot of the drivers going back onto intermediates. So maybe Scavney's made the right call here. Mark of Kenya 30 seconds back on Sam Barrett, who still leads the race on. Hilda Beast here within the second of Scavney. He's trying to gain on him. He's on a lap older intermediate. So Johnny comes into the pits here. He looks like he's going to put on another set of intermediate tyres. The conditions look like they're getting better, so Sam and Mark need to be careful when they come into the pits, because they don't want to give Scavney and Hildy still battling each other here, not far back from each other, as Sam does dive into the pits now to go onto the intermediate tyres. So as I said, Mark of Kenya still out on the wet tyres. He carries on for another lap, so he must have not saw that that the leader came on for another set of intermediates, and there's a yellow flag in sector 3, and it's a Williams of Floating Gypsy who has lost it out of the first right-hander. So Floating Gypsy dives into the pits here, looks to go onto a set of intermediates here. So everyone now pretty much on the intermediates other than Mark and Braylo here. So Hilda be still trying to catch up to Scavney here, only a few seconds back on him, so not far away. Oh, and there's been an overtake. I think Braylo and Brian here, the two Toro Rossos, are neck and neck on the track, and now the Williams of Johnny looks to get past Braylo here. Braylo 7 lap old wet, obviously not the right tyres in the conditions, so He's looking to change onto another set of boots. As Marco Kenya goes into the pit, so he will lose his position to Hildy and Scavney. He will have a monumentous battle to try and catch up to those two drivers as they are lightning quick around this track. As Braylo loses out to Johnny, so I think Braylo will dive into the pits now as he realises the wets aren't the right tyres to be on. So at the moment, with 12 laps remaining, it is Sam from Scavney, from Hildy, from Mark, from Brian, from Johnny, from Braylo, from Vish, from Captain Schmeg69, from Chris Money. So we're waiting for the next battle. Is over. Mercedes of K-Dog goes wide there, but he only has, I think, the Red Bull of Vish. Next as Hildy here is looking close on the tail. Close on the tail of Scavney here as he looked to dive down the outside there, not able to get the move done. Now drops back massively. There's a yellow flag in sector 3 there. I'm not too sure who that is, and it looks like there's a Mercedes going slow, and it is the Mercedes of Kadar going slow. Has she lost her front wing? I'm not too sure. No, she will stay out, so I don't know if it was her who was he was the yellow flag. As it looks like Sam going through an overtake on the lap car there. I'm not sure if that is Vish or Cromley. Hildy still trying to gain on Scavney. He's not close enough. He's not close enough to get the move done. So we go back on board here with Hildy, who's still looking to gain on Scavney. And he needs to worry about Mark behind him, because if he's not careful, if he's not careful, Mark is going to be able to gain on Hildy as he keeps pushing the limits and maybe making a few mistakes, as he's right on the back of him now pretty much within a second. So Mark here right on the back of Hildy. Will he look for a move down the inside? No, he doesn't. He sticks behind him through the right hander, but now will have the toe down the straight. Will he be able to use that extra speed to an advantage? Maybe dive down the inside, or maybe try and stick it round the outside in the wet conditions? No, he would just look to stay behind him and try and gain and see if Hildy makes a mistake anywhere around this circuit, as in the wet you never know what can happen. So as we're on board with Fabio here in the McLaren, a few quite a few seconds away, 43 seconds to be exact, away from the points playing position, so he would have to wish from a shooting star to try and gain points today. Will Fabio. Captain Schmeg, on the other hand, Schmeg on the other Captain Schmeg in 9th here, doing very well for the Alfa Romeo. Sam Barrett though really commanding this race at the front as we go on to our final 8 laps here, and it's been another dominant performance from him, leading the pack all the time. Is Mark right on the back of Hildy now as we go into this right-hander? Will he look to make a move? No, he's just going to look to stay behind him, try and keep the gap as close as possible, see if Hildy is able to make a mistake. As Vicious came into the pits, I think he's gone to another set of intermediates, so intermediates had run out of life. Brian still on 21 lap old on intermediate, so he's going to be feeling the wear on those tyres very soon as they go off the cliff. Cromley right on the back is Fabio here, as Cromley gets the move on Fabio down the inside of the right hander. Good move there for Cromley as he looks to try and recover his race here after dropping back to last on the first lap pretty much. As Marco Kenya still can't get close enough to the back of Hildebeest here, as he goes very deep into that corner, maybe nearly got the move done but not close enough, so he will now drop back massively as Johnny gains a position as Brian comes into the pits. Will he come out ahead of his teammate Braylo the man? It will be very close, so there could be a nice teammate battle to finish the race for them two as they will go on to the last 6 laps of the race. As Brian's gone out onto the softs, so a very interesting decision there from Brian. I don't know what he's seen. In the track to make him think it's soft tyres. And you can see the problems with the soft tyres straight away. Goes very deep, loses a position to his teammate Braylo, but he will have the pace on the soft tyres. Does look to go down the inside and does send it down the inside, and there's going to be a massive conversation between those two teammates as Captain Schmeg 69 able to get the move on Braylo, and now able to get the move on Brian. So Brian basically loses himself and his teammate a free position there. As now Mark of Kenya here looks to try and keep close on the back of Hildebeest here, but I don't think he's going to be able to get the move done by the time the end of the race. As well, Mark of Kenya is quite near the back of Hildebeest, but just doesn't have the traction out of that tight right hander to get the grip down and the speed down to try and get that position. As Vish is now he's now right on the back of Brian, and it is time to go down the inside there from Vish, and that is a beautiful move from Vish to get the move on Brian. And as I said, Brian maybe made as Brian slides into the pits, 2 foot the pits, as he will have to slow down and go onto the intermediate tyres. He definitely made a mistake going out onto the softs, just couldn't find the grip here, and we now wait to see if there's any more battles. And no, Chris Money gets a move on Brian as he has to come into the pits here. He has to serve a 5-second time penalty as well, so that is not what he would have wanted, as I think Mark of Kenya gets the right hander wrong again. He just keeps losing buckets of time there through the right hand as we go on to the last 3 laps of the race. So we just wait to see if there's going to be any more battles. As we'll go on board. Oh, it says Chris Money has gone off the track. He's made a mistake there, and that is not what he would have wanted. He wants to keep his 9th place. I mean, he's got Brian behind him, who's on very fresh into tyres, so he may struggle for pace with Brian chasing him down. But at the moment, I don't think there's any more battles to report on, so it's going to be plain sailing to the end of the race unless someone makes a mistake. I mean, Mark of Kenya will be praying on his knees that Hildebeest makes a mistake. As Chris Money comes into the pit, so he will go onto a set of intermediate tyres. So we may see a battle between Chris and one of the drivers behind him. As let's not forget, Scavney here, your championship leader, is 44 seconds behind Sam Barrett. So Sam Barrett is very impressive to play. As Chris Money goes into the pits, and there's been a massive change in the order there. Chris Money down into 11. So Chris Money out on the softs. I'm not too sure again why he's made that decision. Maybe he thinks the conditions are now right for the soft tyres. As Brodo the man a few seconds back on Captain Schmeg 6-9. As we see as Vish comes into the pits as well to go onto the softs. So will anyone look to go onto the softs as the track is drying up here to make that change? I'm not sure. Maybe Scavney will want to make that risk. I mean, he's got 46 he's got 46 seconds to gain on Sam, so it may be any strategy to try and gain that time back could be an option. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. I'm not sure who that could be. There's a slow car. I'm trying to see who that slow car is. I think it was the horse of Chris Money who makes a mistake, so Fabio is going to be right on the back of his tail, so maybe we can see a last lap battle between those two. Cromley comes into the pits to go onto the softs. He is released from his box. Will he get out ahead of Chris Money and Fabio? I don't know if he will. No, he doesn't. So we may have a battle for 10th here but on our hands to finish the race, and he will come out a few tenths behind them, as Fabio still just a second behind Chris Money here, so maybe a battle between them as Mark of Kenya comes into the pits. I think Mark of Kenya will go onto the soft tyres. I'm not sure why. I mean, there's 2 laps left in this race, so you might as well just long it out on the intermediates as the top 3 are doing. He's going to drop back massively. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. As Sam Barrett from now on will just look to park the bus at the front and not let any of his competitors get past, sort of like a Jose Mourinho. If you watch football, he'll just want to park the bus, get his defences up, not allow any mistakes. As he comes round for his last lap now, as he gets past Brian Mossop on the start finish on the DRS straight, I beg your pardon, as he dives down into the tight right-hander. As SMB RRTT here, your race leader at the moment. And we will now wait and see as Sam Barrett will look to come round the final two turns here. And Sam BRRTT, Mr. Barrett himself, will come round and take the checkered flag for the second race in a row here. And what a fantastic result that is for him. He will obviously celebrate that result once again, as he did last time out at the Paul Ricard circuit. Good result for him, as we now wait for Scavney in second to come round and finish his lap. I mean, not much else to play for the rest of the drivers. Not many people having battles on track. Maybe Hildy could wait for Scavney to make a mistake, but Scavney, championship leader still after the results. Still doing well. So Scavney, as he comes around the final corner, he will take a well-deserved second place here. Hildebeest will be not too far behind him to collect third, and then Mark of Kenya comes around the final two turns here to collect fourth, which will be disappointing for him, as maybe he made the wrong strategy choice to go onto the soft tyres at the end of the race. As Vicious here will come around to finish 8th, and K-Dog will come around the final turn as the last finisher to finish 13th. So it will be Sam Barrett, your winner of the Austrian Grand Prix, your two-time race winner in a row in the Renault. Got bars, obviously. Sign me up, Jay-Z. Oh, what have you put? As we look for the final standings here, as it will be Sam Barrett who wins the Austrian Grand Prix, Scavney in second, Hildebeest in third, Mark of Kenya will finish 4th, Johnny 5th, Captain Schmeg 6'9" in 6th, Brelo the Man 18 in 7th, Vicious 8th, Brian 9th, Chris Money 10th, Cromley Jackson 11th, Fabio 12th, K-Dog 13th, Hirsch 14th, Floating Gypsy 15th, and the three drivers who didn't finish, Charging Lamp, HC Tom and Spaceman 47. So a brilliant race from Sam Barrett, who takes another victory here. So as we finish up today's race, I appreciate you for joining me today. Congratulations to Sam Barrett once again for the results, and he will look for the same result next weekend. Also congratulate to the rest of our podium winners. So Scavney in second, collecting more championship points for his championship standings, which will keep him top, and also Hildebeest, who finished in third. So thank you for watching, and that is it